now. So welcome everyone to the series of presentations and webinars that Grant Thornton Luxembourg has been hosting in the realm of regulatory framework, specifically focusing on cybersecurity. Just to let you know that this webinar is going to be recorded. And the reason why this webinar is more special to us is because we have participants not only from Luxembourg joining us today, but we have colleagues from Grant Thornton member firms from across Europe who have joined us today. So a warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining the webinar today. So I am Sabika Isak. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer here at Grant Thornton Luxembourg, joined by my colleague, and I call her the co-pilot, Magdalena Mehalcia, and together we lead a fantastic team of information security experts. Today's webinar is specifically focusing on the Digital Operational Resilience Act, which we know as DORA. But before I start, just to give you a few points on housekeeping. Of course, I'm not going to talk about the fire alarm because if you hear one, it would be in your own respective premises and hopefully you would know what to do. But other than that, like I said before, this webinar is going to be recorded for the benefit of those people who have registered but are unable to attend today because of other commitments. Furthermore, the webinar will have a presentation by myself first, followed by a demo of a digitalized tool that Grant Thornton has developed to help their clients navigate the complex framework of DORA regulation. And then we will have a list of frequently asked questions that will be presented by Magdalena after the presentation and the demo. These list of questions have been collected from our previous presentations and webinars that we have hosted in the past, and also the questions that were raised during the time that we helped our clients with their DORA compliance. So without further ado, I am going to start my presentation now. So just to give you a short snapshot of the various frameworks that we face in the realm of cybersecurity. The first being the Cybersecurity Act that was introduced in 2019, followed by the Cyber Resilience Act in 2022, which is still in its draft proposal, has not been finalized as yet. And then the two big frameworks that are listed as the priority at the European level by the European Supervisory Authority. The first being the NIS2 directive that was introduced in 2022, and the deadline is very close, which is October 2024, and that focuses on the critical service providers, including the financial sector. And then we have the Digital Operational Resilience Act that we know as DORA that was introduced last year in January 2023, the deadline being January 2025 for a full compliance with this framework. And this framework is a very sector-specific framework focusing mainly on the financial sector. Now, before I delve deeper into what DORA entails, just to let you know that this is not a one-shot silver bullet that you comply with and you are absolutely resilient in terms of your security posture. But this framework compels the financial sector organizations to continuously improve and develop their security postures beyond the requirements of DORA itself. So introducing the Digital Operational Resilience Act, first of all, in terms of its timeline. As you know, that the financial sector has been, regulated heavily in the past as well, with various regulations coming into play. But what DORA does is that it tends to harmonize all of those requirements in a single framework. And the ESA, which is the Joint Committee of the European Supervisory Authority, introduced this framework. The European Supervisory Authority authority is composed of the EBA, which we know as the European Banking Authority, the EIOPA, which is the European Insurance and Occupational Pensions Authority, and ESMA, which is European Securities and Markets Authority. So, in terms of the timeline of DORA, like I said in the beginning, it was the draft proposal was given in 2022, and then it came into force last year in January 2023. And the framework itself, which was introduced in 2023, the ESA gave 1 year to organizations in the financial sector who are in scope of DORA to comply with the requirements within the framework. After which, there were technical documents that are to be released and have been released. These technical documents provide a detailed requirements of how the organizations can comply with the 5 pillars that were introduced initially in January 2023. So this year, in January 2024, there were technical documents that we know as the Regulatory and Implementing Technical Standards, the RTS and ITS. They were issued in January 2024. And what were these RTS and ITS related to? They were related to the ICT risk management, the ICT risk related incidents, the third-party service provider risk assessment, and a template for the register of information. The next technical documents will be released in July this year, 2024, which only means that the requirements to comply with this huge framework is going to increase. At the moment, we have to navigate through more than 700 requirements, including the first batch of RTS and ITS, for organizations to understand which requirements are specifically applicable to their environment. And then, of course, they need to provide the relevant evidence to show that they are compliant with those requirements or not. When the additional RTS and ITS are released in July, the requirements will only increase. We don't know how big that batch 2 is going to be, but batch 1 was as big as the initial framework that was released in January 2024. And then finally, the organizations that are in scope of DORA, they will be expected to comply with this framework by 17th of January 2025. Now, there is a challenge for those organizations who think that they have plenty or ample amount of time till January next year. However, they do not. The reason why the ESA decided to release this framework in a phased approach is because they are providing time to the organizations to go through a step-by-step process of doing a gap assessment and then remediating those gaps that they feel that they're not compliant with. However, if organizations think that they have plenty of time and they should start their compliance journey after batch 2 is released, then the bad news is that it is going to be too late for you, because this is a huge framework. It is a challenge not only for the big organizations, but specifically for the small to medium-sized organizations as well, who do not have big teams or resources to specifically focus on the DORA regulation itself. So, we always remind our clients that they should start their compliance journey as early as possible. So, who does DORA apply to? Excuse me. So, like I said, this is a sector-specific framework that focuses on the financial sector. And as you can see that we have credit institutes, payment institutes, and a number of other financial organizations that are in scope of the DORA regulation as such. However, you would see some discrepancies that there are managers of alternative investment funds, insurance and reinsurance undertakings that are both in scope and out of scope of DORA. To clarify that, we have put it very clearly that if you are not in scope of DORA, you would have to refer to the Article 3.2 of the Directive 2011/61/EU for the managers of alternative investment funds in order for you to analyze whether you are in scope or out of scope of DORA itself. But these can be, these are relevant to different articles within the EU frameworks for you to understand whether you would fall under the scope of DORA or not as a financial entity. So, what are the different pillars of the DORA framework itself? Just to give you a very quick overview, because I will not go into a deep dive into each of these pillars. But as I said, the financial sector has been subjected to a number of regulations in the past, and therefore they do have a baseline of security resilience posture that is already implemented in most of these organizations, if not all. And so the governance framework is already there as a baseline based on which the DORA framework will be built upon. And the first two pillars, which are very, very important, are the risk management pillars, which are related to not only your internal ICT related and cyber related risk assessments, but also the risk assessment that you would do on your third parties service providers. So basically, your supply chain risk assessment should be in place according to the DORA requirements itself. The third and a very important pillar is the incident reporting. DORA provides you the classification of different incidents that an organization may have, and depending on that classification, it requires organizations to report those incidents on a timely basis to their local regulators itself. And then we have the digital operational resilience testing. Most of the financial organizations have a yearly program whereby they do a pen testing on their critical applications or infrastructure. However, DORA goes a step beyond the pen testing programs that most of these organizations have in place. What DORA requires those organizations, depending on their proportionality analysis, whether they fall under the scope of red teaming exercise or not. And red teaming goes beyond the pen testing that we do, and it includes social engineering and physical pen testing as well. And then the fifth pillar is at the moment an information sharing arrangement, which is expected on a voluntary basis. It is not compulsory for the time being, but organizations are expected to share their threat intelligence information with other organizations and their regulators so that the organizations in the sector can also benefit from that information itself. So, how has Grant Thornton, looking at this huge framework, you can only imagine the amount of work and effort and time that is required by different teams within organizations to comply with this framework. However, what Grant Thornton as a global firm has initiated and implemented to help their clients with their compliance journey is that we have developed a digitalized tool to help our clients with the DORA framework. And what is this digitalized tool? Well, in fact, we have moved away from the traditional Excel-based tool, promoting a web-based solution, which gives autonomy to our clients. We, as you know, that in Luxembourg and in various other jurisdictions within Europe, we have organizations that are small to medium-sized organizations. They may have the resources and the expertise, but they may not have the time to do those regulatory compliance work on their own. For that purpose, of course, organizations like us, like Grant Thornton, are there to offer our expertise to our clients to help them with their compliance. However, those clients who would like to undertake this compliance journey themselves by their resources that they have already, by leveraging upon the resources and the expertise that they have in-house, we are also offering the prospect of them to use this tool, which will only accelerate their compliance journey. So how do we do that? Instead of these organizations going through all more than 900 requirements within DORA and Batch 1, instead of going line by line and assessing which ones are applicable to you, the DORA tool will do that work for you. So if you are, for example, a payment institute, or you are an ICT third-party service provider and you need to be compliant with DORA, what this tool is going to do is that depending on the options that you select in terms of what kind of an organization you are within the financial sector, the tool will automatically filter through these more than 900 requirements and will only show you those requirements that are applicable to you depending on the options that you selected. And in a moment in the demo, I will show you how the tool does that. Once the tool has filtered through those more than 900 requirements that are in the DORA text, as well as in batch 1 of RTS and ITS, you will have a point-to-point questionnaire whereby you will be offering your evidence as well as how you have implemented those certain requirements that are considered to be applicable to your environment itself. Within that, you will be able to select whether you are fully compliant, partially compliant, or not compliant at all. And how do you assess that? I will also show you that when I do the demo of the tool in a moment. And then the best thing about this tool is that at the end of your assessment, you will have two kinds of reports. One is a visual representation of your compliance status in terms of how many requirements you are compliant with as compared to how many you are not, which you can present to your management in terms of having the ability to get the endorsement for the additional projects that you would like your management to endorse. Second, and the most important one, is a remediation plan that will be provided to you at the end of the assessment itself. So for those requirements where you will select whether you are partially compliant or not compliant with that requirement, the tool will automatically generate a remediation plan giving you a guideline in terms of what you need to do in order to be fully compliant with that requirement. And that is included in the package of the tool itself, which is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Now, before I move on to the demo, I would like to give you a very short introduction to the security features of the tool itself. There is, of course, segregation of database for each client because we take our client data very, very seriously. There is authentication with multi-factor authentication, and of course there is versioning and audit trail along with the tool being hosted on Grant Thornton Luxembourg's Azure environment, which is ISO 27001 certified, and we are happy to show you the certification if you wish. So before I go to the demo of the tool, I would like to show you a short video of the tool itself.
Are you ready to take control of your compliance process like never before? Look no further than our cutting-edge DORA tool, the ultimate solution designed to empower you every step of the way. With DORA, you're in the driver's seat. Whether you prefer a hands-on approach or seek expert guidance, our platform offers unparalleled autonomy. Take charge of your gap assessment independently, or let our team of seasoned professionals lend their expertise. The choice is yours. But that's just the beginning. Picture this. At the conclusion of your assessment, you receive not one, but two invaluable resources. Firstly, a visual snapshot of your firm's compliance status, providing instant clarity and insight. Secondly, a comprehensive remediation report, meticulously crafted to guide you through your compliance journey with ease. Experience the transformative power of DORA today and unlock a world of compliance efficiency like never before. Don't just meet standards, exceed them with confidence, with DORA by your side. Your compliance journey starts here.
So that was a very short video of introduction to the tool. I would like to show you the demo of the tool, but before I do that, these are the contact details for you to get in touch with us in case you would want to have answers to any of your additional questions other than the ones that you asked during the webinar. But before I move on to the demo of the tool, just to let you know that whatever data you saw on in the video, it was not related to any client. It was all dummy information. And whatever information I will show you on the tool itself, it is not related to any of our client information. So now, in terms of the demo of the tool, this is the login page where we use multi-factor authentication, which is when you first log in, it is an OTP sent to your email as well as your phone number. Now, when I log in, you will come to a landing page where it gives you an introduction to the tool, to the DORA tool itself, in terms of the different features that this tool has. As you can see, it has an autosave, which means that after every 30 seconds, whatever you have put into the tool, it will be saved automatically. If you save and close, you can come back to it at any time in time, and also you can start from wherever you left behind previously. There are two options to submit. The first one is a simple submit after your assessment, after which the two reports will be generated, which is the visual representation of your compliance, as well as the second report, which is a remediation guideline that will be provided to you. However, if you would like a 4I principle in terms of your internal auditor or in terms of your compliance legal member of the team to assess whatever you have put into the tool, whether they agree with it or not, you can go for the option of submit to review. In that case, your assessment will be sent to the person who is designated as your internal auditor or as a member of your legal or compliance or information security or IT team who has been designated as the reviewer to review your assessment in order to give you a 4I principle. Now, when I show you the questionnaire, you will see a red icon against each of the requirement. That icon is going to give you a guidance in terms of what kind of evidence you can provide for that specific requirement. So it is just a guideline for you to help accelerate your process in terms of providing the evidence that is required. Now, before I move on, I would like to show you this specific aspect, which is DORA definitions. This is basically a repository, a library of different terms that are used in the DORA framework. We have collected all of them and we have put them in terms of a repository or a library of information that can be accessed at any time during your assessment process for those people who are doing your analysis and would like to have more information on a particular term that they may not be sure about. So without further ado, let me start. First of all, how to show you how to start a new assessment. So if I want to create a new assessment and I want to say that, all right, my organization is a credit institute, but also it is, for example, and you can see a list of all the organizations, types of organizations that are in scope of DORA. But this tool also provides the benefit that if you fall under more than one category of the financial institute, you can select more than one. And then the tool will do its own filtering and provide you only with those requirements that are applicable to you. So, for example, if I say for this particular assessment, which is a test assessment, and then I say I am a credit institute, but at the same time, I am an ICT third party service provider. So I select the two and I apply. It will give me two more specificities. So whether I am a micro enterprise or am I classified as significant. So if I select a micro enterprise, the tool is going to remind me that I can only be considered as a micro enterprise if my team is less than 10 people and the balance annual sheet that we produce does not exceed 2 million. So in this case, I am not going to select this. And then it says whether I am classified as significant or not as a credit institute. Those of you who are classified as significant by your regulators in your own jurisdictions, you would know whether you are classified as significant or not. So in this case, I will select classified as significant, or you can deselect as well. You don't need to select any of these if you do not fall under these categories. And then I will select create assessment. As you can see, the tool has filtered through those more than 900 requirements of the DORA framework, as well as batch one of RTS and ITS. And because I am a credit institute as well as an ICT third party service provider, the number of requirements that are applicable to me are 670 requirements out of those more than 900 requirements. Now, if I resume, I will come to a point-to-point questionnaire that is divided into different chapters according to the DORA framework itself. So you can see that under each of these chapters, it tells me exactly how many requirements are applicable to me. So for example, in chapter 2, which is the biggest one, there are 406 requirements that are applicable to me. So let me open this. And like I told you right in the beginning of this tool, that there is a red icon that shows you, if you hover over the icon, it shows you exactly what kind of evidence can be provided. Now, there can be a different name that is given to the ICT risk management framework in your organization, but it is related to the ICT risk assessments that you do. So this is a guideline in terms of providing you some sort of a guidance in terms of what kind of evidence you can provide for that particular requirement. And then it gives me four options: whether I am covered or partially covered or not covered at all, or maybe this is not applicable to me in my opinion. So if I'm covered, that means that I have the design as well as the implementation fully implemented. What is a design? Design means that I have the relevant documentations and policies in place. And also implementation means that whatever documents and policies that I claim to have in place for that specific requirement, I can also provide evidence to show that whatever is on paper is also in practice. However, if I say that I am partially covered, then I may have the documentations in place, but I may not have the evidence to prove that whatever is on the paper is also in practice. Or vice versa. I may have the procedures in place in terms of the day-to-day businesses that is conducted, but I do not have them necessarily documented, and that is the case in most of the organizations that we have helped so far. Now, in terms of the owner. As you can see, if I filter by owner, you can see that there are no names at the moment. However, if I say that for this specific requirement, I am the owner of this requirement, and Magdalena is the owner for the next one, and I save and close, you will see that when I resume again and I filter by owner, you can see that the two owners that I have input in the tool itself have come up. Now, if I want to select only for myself and I apply, I will only see that requirement that has been assigned to me. So this is the way for teams to work together on this tool at the same time. Now, as you can see, like I told you, you have the save and close option, the submit to review and submit. However, I cannot submit now at the moment because I have not completed my assessment. Um, so I will not be able to submit, and therefore I need to show you those assessments that have already been completed. So for the purpose of the demo, we completed an assessment for investment firms. As you can see, the investment firms that are not micro enterprises and also that are not significant, there are 555 requirements that are applicable to them. If I view and then I go to the DORA gap reports that have been created, you can see that you will have a visual representation in terms of the graphs and by bar charts. For example, in Chapter 2, you will see that I am not covered on 19 requirements. I am partially covered on 32, and I am completely covered on 42 requirements. So this is just a visual representation of what you have input in the tool itself. This can be downloaded in terms of a PDF that you can show to your or you can present to your management in terms of a PDF report. So this is one aspect. Then the second report is a remediation plan. So for those requirements whereby I selected that I am partially covered or not covered, the tool has automatically generated a remediation plan. So it has given me a guidance in terms of what I need to do in terms of to fully comply with those requirements. And as you can see, the ID on each of these requirements are perfectly in correlation with the ID that is in the DORA framework itself. Now, this report it can be downloaded in terms of a PDF that you can present to your management or your different teams. You can see there is the assessment number, name, the company name, and the completion date. And at the same time, you can download it in an editable version of an Excel format. And the reason why we kept this as one of the options is because some teams want to, have a different column or additional columns to provide their feedback and their input as and when they go along their compliance journey in terms of remediating those gaps. So this is an overview of the DORA tool itself. As you can see, this is a tool that can only help you to accelerate your compliance journey because it reduces the work that you or your teams have to do in terms of going through each and every requirement within the framework or the batch one of RTS and ITS. The tool does the work for you itself. However, there are, of course, I am sure that all of you have questions regarding the tool. But before we come to your questions itself, I would request Magdalena to share her screen. I am going to stop sharing my screen, and Magdalena can share her screen and show you the list of frequently asked questions that we've had in the past. So over to you,
Thank you very
Magdalena.
much. Thank you very much, Sabika, for the wonderful presentation. So, hello everybody. My name is Magdalena Mihalseia, and I'm Senior Information Security Manager working for Grant Thornton Luxembourg. So, as Sabika said, to provide a comprehensive overview of our DORA tool, we've gathered and organized the most commonly asked questions that we've received until now. So we're beginning with the question that holds the highest interest for everyone. What is the cost for one license? So the cost for one license without support for conducting the gap assessment is €5,000, excluding VAT. However, if you feel that you lack the resources or knowledge to perform the gap assessment yourself, we can also provide consultancy services. In this case, the license cost will be waived and you will only pay for the man days used by our team to complete the project. The second question, how long is the validity period for the DORA tool license? So the license is a one-time use, which means that once you create the assessment and submit it to receive the report, the license is used up. Therefore, there is no time limitation. The third question, is it possible to utilize a single license for both an organization and its branch? Well, it is possible to use it for one assessment if the two organizations share the same governance, structure, policies, and procedures. You can conduct just one assessment. However, if there are significant differences, we do not recommend this approach as the results may not be accurate. Moving on, the next question, will there be an additional fee required in July when the second batch of RTS is published? So we are happy to announce that there will be no additional fee when we update the tool with the second batch of RTS. All existing assessments will be reopened to grant access to the newly introduced requirements. Can the DORA tool integrate with other software or systems used by the organization, meaning GRC tools? Unfortunately, our tool is not equipped with this feature, so if needed, you can manually enter the report results into your GRC tool. How can we assess the risks to determine which requirements should be targeted first? So to determine which requirements should be targeted first, you have to analyze and prioritize the most critical gaps you have identified. The intersection of your gap assessment and your most recent risk assessment should provide you a clear view of your priorities. And the final question, is there a trial period or demo available for testing the DORA tool before purchasing? So our team is always available to provide you with a free demo session similar to the one we had today. If you wish to explore the tool in more depth and test it yourself, we can also offer you a 1-week trial period. Thank you very much. And now I think we are ready to receive the questions from your side.
Yes, I think, Magdalena, the first question in the chat says that the tool seems, it's not a question, but a comment itself. It says that the tool seems to be easy to use. And yes, you're absolutely right. The tool is very easy to use. We have a user manual prepared already. But during the demo, you will know already how to use the tool. So absolutely, it is a very easy to use tool. And once you want to be onboarded onto the tool, we will also provide you with a user manual as well, just in case. And like Magdalena said, we are always here to help our clients who are onboarded onto the tool and otherwise as well to answer any questions that you may have. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to put that in the tool itself. In the chat. And one of the points that I wanted to tell you about the tool is that in the tool, you can upload different documents in different formats. So for example, you can upload documents in terms of a PDF, or you can also upload in terms of a Word document or an Excel sheet. So I can share my screen again to show you how that aspect works in terms of uploading different kinds of evidence. So, for example, if I show you in the first row, I want to upload an evidence. So this is basically related to risk management, and I say that I have the risk management policy in place, and also the risk register as evidence has been endorsed by the management. And now for this, I would like to upload a test document. So I'm going to upload a test document, which is a Word document, but you can upload, like I said, in any format, whether it is a PowerPoint presentation, a PDF, an Excel sheet, or a Word document. So as you can see, as soon as I uploaded the document, the icon next to it turned green, which means that that this is the requirement against which you have provided or uploaded an evidence. And if I click on this icon, I can see exactly what document has been uploaded, and I can also download it again to view the document itself. So this is how the aspect of uploading different evidence within the tool works. And of course, at the end of the whole assessment, like I showed you, when you click on view, you can see that there is because this assessment is completed already, and you saw the different reports that can be downloaded. You can also download whatever you have input into your into this tool itself, for your own record. So for then, as soon as you submit your assessment, there will be an icon that will ask you if you want to download the whole report in terms of whatever you have input into the tool. So you will be able to download the whole questionnaire report. As you can see, it is based in an Excel file. So it will give you the chapter name, the ID, which is, like I said, corresponding exactly to the framework in DORA itself, the details of the paragraph of that ID, the owner of that requirement that has been assigned to it, and then the status that you have covered, and also the design and implementation that you have provided in terms of your evidence within the tool itself. So these are different additional features that you can see in the tool. If you have any more questions. Oh, yes, we do have it. Could you clarify whether the DORA tool will also support and integrate ongoing testing activities post implementation? You're talking about submission. Where is the submission going to? Okay, to tackle the first question, it says that whether the DORA tool will also support and integrate ongoing testing activities post implementation. So, like Magdalena said, that once you have submitted your completed assessment, it will only be reopened when the additional batch 2 requirements are released in July. The ongoing testing activities post implementation of the DORA, this can be, if you want to still use the DORA tool, of course, we can open up a new assessment for you to integrate those ongoing testing activities that you have against the requirements for which you want to integrate them. And then you ask the question, you're talking about submission, where is the submission going to? So if, for example, when I click on submit, the submission is stored on the Azure environment, like I said, where the tool is hosted. So the data is absolutely segregated. You are the owner of the data. And like I showed you different reports in terms of the information that you can download from the tool itself. The data is not shared with anyone other than you yourself. You are the owner of the data. And submission means that once you submit it to the tool, it is processed and different reports are produced at the end. Magdalena, do you have any comments on those two questions?
No, just to add the fact that we don't even have access to your data. So if you are performing the self-assessment, we are Grant Thornton Luxembourg. We cannot see the data that is stored in your assessment.
Yes, thank you, Magdalena. So, like I said, you are the owner of the data, unless and until you would like our assistance to help you with the compliance. We do not have access to your data or anyone else. And the next question is, what are your rates for the support option that is without the license, and what is the process for this? Okay, thank you very much for that question. Like Magdalena said, it depends on the man days that are required. At the moment, the clients who we have helped so far in terms of their compliance, it has taken us around 15 to 20 days to do the initial gap assessment for the DORA framework as well as batch 1. And then it takes us additional 10 to 15 days to remediate those gaps. However, with batch 2 coming in, we do not know how many man days that would require, but we are anticipating perhaps 10 to 15 days or 15 to 20 days, depending on how big the batch 2 of RTS and ITS is. And of course, we can share those rates with you, Elia, if you wish, without the license. Of course, like Magdalena said, it is without the license fee. It's only the number of man days that are required to do the assessment itself. We can have. Okay, thank you. We will share those with you, Elia. I have your email address, and we will reach out to you after the webinar itself. And now we have another question which says, how does Grant Thornton ensure that the DORA tool remains up to date with evolving DORA regulations and the relevant regulatory changes? Thank you very much for that question, Sarah. We have spent months to create this tool. And when the batch 1 came into play in January this year, it took us around 4 weeks to update the tool in terms of the additional requirements that were a part of batch 1. And we will continue to do so. When the batch 2 requirements come in July, we are anticipating almost the same amount of time, and then we would be up and running with the batch 2 additional requirements by August this year in terms of updating the DORA regulations. And of course, since this is our core aspect when it comes to DORA tool, we will definitely be updating the requirements as and when they come into play. However, we only foresee the next update in July coming into play. And then, of course, there will be the compliance requirement in January 2025. But other than that, if there are additional DORA regulation updates, we will update our tool as and when it comes into play. In terms of other relevant regulatory changes, if those changes affect the DORA regulations and the requirements within DORA, of course, we will update our tool. But if those requirements are for example, related to other frameworks like NIS2 or the Cyber Resilience Act, which may not affect DORA as such, then of course the DORA tool will remain as it is. I hope it answers your question. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you, Alain, for that question. Alain has asked, by purchasing a single license, how many different users can I create to work on my assessment? This is a very important question. For one license, we offer one assessment and we offer access to 5 people within your different teams. So, like I said, DORA is a very big framework and it cannot only be undertaken by your IT team or by your compliance team or by your information security team, etc. It has to be a team effort whereby there are people from different teams coming together to respond to the various aspects within the questionnaire itself. That is why we have kept the option of having a maximum of 5 people, 5 users who can have access to your assessment itself. Now, when we provide the license to a client, we ask them specifically as to who would need to have access to your assessment. So, for example, if you give us a list of names, 5 names, and 4 of them have to be those people who are going to be labeled as analysts in the DORA tool. Analysts meaning those people who would actually do the assessment itself. And then the 5th person would be a reviewer. For example, it could be a reviewer as your internal auditor or your external auditor or anyone in your team who would be reviewing the assessment that you have done. So there will be 5 people who would have access to your assessment if you wish. Otherwise, it depends on even if you want to have 2 or 3 people, but maximum 5 people. But thank you for that question, Ala. That was a very good question. Any other questions? Okay, it seems that the webinar and the presentation was quite clear enough for a lot of you. But thank you very much for joining the webinar. It was a pleasure to presenting the tool itself. Like I said, we have spent a lot of effort in terms of creating this tool, and we are very proud to say that we are one of the first organizations to offer a digitalized online tool that helps to accelerate the process of your compliance journey related to the Digital Operational Resilience Act, the DORA framework itself, which is a big framework. And like I said, this tool is only going to help you accelerate your process, only going to help you speed up your process in an efficient manner, because instead of you having to go through each and every requirement within the DORA framework and batch 1 of RTS and ITS, like you saw, the tool does that work for you. So I can only emphasize the importance of having a tool like this that can help you, considering also on top of that the very short deadlines that you face as an organization in scope of the DORA framework itself. However, if you have any questions, like I showed you at the end of my presentation, if you have any questions, please do reach out to us, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you may have, or also to provide you on your team's additional demo session and a clarification on how we can help you. If you have the resources and expertise but do not have the time to do the assessment yourself, we are always here to help you, because we have a big team of experts who are specialized in different regulatory frameworks that we face in the realm of cybersecurity. And Elia, we will reach out to you in terms of the additional information that you asked for. So now, if there aren't any more questions, I would like to thank you once again for joining us today. Thank you very much. And we wish you a good compliance journey ahead and a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.